Welcome to Capital Combat Parley.
Yes, that's right. Capital Combat Parley in studio, brought to you by the Special Forces of Video Production in Ottawa and Gatineau. That's Obscura Creative. Big shout outs to Derek Price. Big shout outs to Jeremy Kennedy. Big shout outs to Kaylin. And big shout outs to Frank. Woo! How you doing, brother?
I'm excited, just
I'm
like you.
excited
Look,
too, man.
we got a crazy home base now,
Yes,
you know,
we
to
do, we
operate.
do.
We're going to do more shows,
Yes.
cover more MMA events, have
got
more
it.
guests. We got some crazy segments coming up.
Yes, indeed.
But don't think we're not going to be on location anymore, because we are. We love being on location.
We love it. We love it. And we're gonna go to all these locations, all these dojos, all these gyms. Thank you very much for sending us comments, for giving us leads on stories. We appreciate it. Keep in mind, we want to work with everyone in the Ottawa Gatineau region and beyond. We want to thank our fans. We've got fans outside of the National Capital Region, in Toronto, in Montreal, in Quebec City, hell, even in France, Lyon, France. Bonjour les Français, comment ça va? Ça va?
Whatever he just said.
Yes.
Hey, man, and let's just thank all the gyms for all the access they've given us, too, because we go to these seminars, you know, we go to these events and we go to these gyms. We meet the best of the best in the world at combat sports.
Yes.
And I feel like a kid in a candy store. I feel like I got VIP access. So thank you. We're going to keep doing that. It's awesome. And are you ready to get this new show started?
I'm ready, brother.
Let's do it. So our first guest at the new CCP studio is former pro fighter, coach, Primal Strength Systems owner, Terry Rea. Terry, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. Now, I want to talk to you because you fought back in the dark days, what I call the dark days of MMA, before it was cool, before it was hype, before, you know, Chris Lieben made it really popular. And walk us through that, because you fought at King of the Cage, right? Capital Chaos.
Yeah, 2007, I believe. So yeah, King of the Cage was mostly operating out in Calgary, I believe, and they started doing shows in Ottawa. And I think I was on the first card they did here in
First
Ottawa.
fight of the first
I think
card.
it was them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was you know, I was training at Ronin Mixed Martial Arts at the time, and a lot of my teammates were on the card. I actually hopped on the card like 3 days notice.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I was training with the guys for the fight camp, and
Yeah.
you know, being a body and being in there, and they needed a last minute replacement, and gave me a call at work and asked me if I wanted to be on the card, and I said sure. So I had to get all my medicals done, and like cut my weight and get on the scale and get in there.
What was that like fighting? Because it's, you know, I'm sure it wasn't quite, the shows weren't quite as refined as they are now, right?
It was at the time I had been part of a lot of the pro shows. Like I'd been cornerman and a coach and a teammate, so I'd experienced a lot. It was pretty good at that time. It was being filmed for TSN, so TSN was down, and they would. The production was fairly good. We were in the Robert Gertain Arena, I believe. It held like 3,500 people.
Yeah.
Hull Gatineau. Big shout out to Hull Gatineau.
So they were there. We did pre-fight interviews and stuff, and they did a little montage and interviews after the weigh-ins and stuff like that. It was pretty good, but yeah, at that time the sport was just like, it was the local scene, right? So
Yeah.
there was a lot of buzz around with the family and friends of the fighters and stuff, and there was a lot of fans, but it wasn't until a little bit later where it really picked up, I think, with the Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, it was a who's who of the local scene, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the people who were on the card: Jason Motard, Nick Denis, Stéphane Lamarche, Jay Bizanette, TJ Grant, Mark Bocek.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool time. All those guys were up and coming. A bunch of those guys ended up making it to the UFC and did really, really well. Yeah, so it was at that time, it was the creme de la creme of for the most part, of the Canadian mixed martial arts scene and the local Ottawa scene.
And there was no amateur.
Yeah, there was no amateur.
So you got to be a bit nuts, right? To do this.
You hopped right in. You know, they wanted you to have some type of experience going in, but usually you were going in off of you know, your coach's recommendation, that type of thing. And
Sure.
yeah, it was. Yeah, there was no amateur. It wasn't like it is today. You can there wasn't even a lot of grappling tournaments
Right.
going on back then either, and even before that. So you could take your time and do grappling tournaments, do boxing and Muay Thai, and get your feet wet in every individual sport, and then gravitate into MMA. But for the most part, like myself and other guys, just jumped both feet in, gave it a go.
When you got the phone call 3 days before the event, what was the initial emotion? How did you feel when you got? Was it excitement, fear?
All of those, both of those things, and a bunch of other emotions. It was like, because the event had been moved. It was supposed to be on a weekend. It ended up being on a Wednesday night. And so I got the call, I think, on Monday. I was at work, and from my coach and asked me if I wanted to be on the card. And initially I said, let me think about it. And actually my friend Stefan Lamarche called me back at work like 2 minutes later and said, did coach call you and ask for the fight? Are you gonna do it? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I'm way overweight right now, and I haven't really been I haven't been training like I'm fighting. And he's like, just do it. And so I'm like, all right. Called him back. I said, just do it.
That sounds like Steph, actually.
Yeah. Walked into my boss's office at the time and asked him if I could get a couple of days off work. 'Cause I had to shoot down to Montreal, get my EEG, my CAT scan.
Wow.
And I was fighting at 170. So at that time, at that time, I think I was 188 pounds. So I had to deal with all that before.
How was the cut? How was that?
The cut was, well, really, I just kind of had to start managing it, and immediately. So I just, avoided water. I didn't do it the healthiest way. I didn't have time.
Sure.
Right. So I avoided water, watched what I was eating. A good friend of mine, another local fighter, a guy did really well, Ian Daw, came with me down to Montreal and hung out with me while I got everything done, and then we toured back into the city. Actually, I had a hard time finding a doctor to sign off on my medicals, because you go in, I couldn't get an appointment with my doctor, going into walk-in clinics, and you're trying to get them to sign off on this thing. And MMA at the time, nobody knew what it was, really. You're trying
you want to what?
You want to do what? Like, I'm not signing off on
Cage
this.
fighting?
Yeah, exactly, right? So I remember we went to doctor after doctor, walk-in clinic after walk-in clinic. This sounds really shady, but going to one, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I love mixed martial arts. I was gonna go to this event, cool. And he signs off on it, he's asking me all these questions, and then we were good to go, and then...
Find the right doctor, kids.
Yeah, and then that was that. Then the next morning I had to wake up and go do weigh-ins, and the whole thing started. And it was weigh-ins. TSM was interviewing you, and then you try to get your weight back up.
And then you fought. And did you have to go back to work the next day, or did you?
I went to work the next morning. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
How was that day at work?
It was an interesting day at work. I was pretty banged up. I remember I was working as a warehouse manager for a sanitation company at the time, and I had some employees and stuff like that, and I was driving around the warehouse with a black eye and things still oozing out of my head and stuff like that. Yeah, it was interesting, but I had to take the time off to get it done, and it was hard for them to let me be away for that time, so fought. Everybody else went out partying. I went out a little bit, toured home because I had to go to work the next day.
Now, for you to have fought before it was kind of popular and cool means you had to start training before it was popular and cool. And the fascinating thing, like, jiu-jitsu wasn't really a thing back then. Grappling wasn't huge. So how did you go about finding good grappling?
It was interesting because I think at this point in time, there's a couple of generations of fans.
Yeah.
Like there's the fans who came in during the Ultimate Fighter, and then there's fans that have come in more recently. And I was like one of those guys. If you talk to some of the older fighters have been come and gone now.
Yeah.
Their story was they found the first UFC somewhere at their local video store in like the early '90s, and were instantly drawn to it. So at that time, I was the same way. I think I was 13, 14, found the first UFCs, got into them, and I was like, I was attracted to all aspects of it. It wasn't just that it was like fighting. It was the guts it took to get in there, the conditioning you had to have, the skill you had to have. So at that point, I started being really interested in martial arts, and I think I got into kickboxing, and then when I got to high school, I started getting into wrestling and stuff like that, and some boxing. I did all these things with the intention of eventually getting into mixed martial arts. So I think it was 2001. I was looking to start getting and starting doing mixed martial arts itself and learning grappling and submissions and stuff like that. Because at that time, you couldn't go around your corner and find a jiu-jitsu gym or any of that stuff. It was no one even knew what it was, right? So I had found a place in the phone book, Bob Carver's Thai Boxing. So I gave him a call. I remember I spoke to that I know now is my original coach, Kareem Byron.
Yep.
Yeah. So
we talked to him, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So we spoke to him. I came in for an intro class, and I believe it was a no-gi class. They had gi and no-gi. And then it was mostly a Muay Thai gym. But it was just this little subsection. They taught some submission grappling. And so I went in there and just kind of fell in love with it. I had wrestled a little bit in high school, and the no-gi was I just gravitated towards it really well.
Yeah.
And they had the Muay Thai there, so I'd take Muay Thai and I would do the gi jiu-jitsu, and I would also do the submission wrestling. And
what did you like better, no gi or gi?
definitely no gi. Yeah.
Why is that?
It was just more my style because I'd wrestled before, and I'd always had the intention of doing MMA. So for me, I found it weird putting a gi on.
Yeah.
And I found it weird learning submissions and stuff. that I couldn't with the chokes, or sorry, the gi collar stuff and the grips that I couldn't use in MMA. And then my coaches are always arguing that, it helps you build other skills. And
I mean, there's a whole debate there.
There's a debate
But,
there.
yeah.
There's a debate there.
We won't get into that today.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. But I got more out of it. I just gravitated towards it, and I always wanted to just keep my game simple and focused. And I was going to be, when I did MMA, I wasn't going to be able to wear a gi, so I didn't really want to focus on that.
And you haven't worn a gi since, right?
There was times there.
Yeah, at Ronin, did you train in the gi?
I did a little bit.
Okay.
I earned my blue belt from Marcus Soares.
Okay.
Yeah, and anybody in the jiu-jitsu community will know who Marcus is, and he doesn't just hand those things out.
Right.
And he was Kareem, my coach, his original coach. And so that's how I literally just scanned the yellow pages back in the day and looked for martial arts submission, grappling submission,
Yellow
wrestling.
pages.
You realize millennials won't know what the
those
yellow
are.
pages are.
Before
book
Google. Google.
You don't fight anymore, obviously.
Nope.
But you still train, and you still you run a class, a mixed martial arts class, right? Tell us about that.
Well, I work, I'm a coach out of Algonquin College. They actually
Yeah.
have a martial arts facility, a very successful one with tons and tons.
It's an awesome place. I can
hundreds of
testify to
students.
that. I've trained there, and Wayne Boucher, the guy running it, is one of the
guy.
coolest dudes. Matter of fact, he may be wearing his shirt if you want to give that a plug.
Propaganda Fitness, check them out.
Check him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I started working there. I was training at Ronin at the time, and Wayne is actually a good friend of the original owners, Jamie and Wade of Ronin, and he was asking if they had any guys that wanted to teach an MMA class, and thankfully to Wade and Jamie, they suggested me and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said, yeah, I'd love to teach a beginner's MMA class at that time. Yeah. So I started working there. It had to be 6-7 years ago now.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, I teach the mixed martial arts there. I was the boxing coach at one point, but I handed that off to another guy. And I teach a submission wrestling class. So I do MMA, we do MMA 4 times a week, and we do submission wrestling twice a week, yeah.
Fun fact, Terry was my little brother's MMA coach, as a matter of fact, when he fought. So it's a very small community here. Tell us about Primal Strength Systems.
So Primal Strength System, my career is I'm a strength and conditioning coach. So Primal Strength Systems is my baby, essentially. It is my training philosophy and how I approach my training, everyday people and athletes and stuff like that. So it's essentially, I work a lot. Most of my experience is in corrective exercise and post-rehab and then sports performance. So I utilize a lot of my stuff is for performance and improving movement and, trying to do no harm while you're training.
Right.
That type of thing. So it's a lot of functional, I know that's a word that gets tossed around, functional and practical movements in training that keep people healthy, get them stronger, and for athletes it's just the bare bones stuff that they need as opposed to really overdoing it, all these complex things, and just kind of keep it simple.
And where can people find out about that? The website or Facebook? Or?
Yeah, I got a Facebook page, Primal Strength Systems. You'll find out on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel as well, Primal Strength Systems. I post a lot of things on both. Yeah, so you can find me on there. I operate a lot out of Algonquin in their gym, and I also do a lot of in-home stuff and run my own side of things as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey man, I want to thank you for being our first guest. Stick around. We're doing some a new thing, Capital Combat Parley Takedown Trivia or Trivia Takedown. You're going to try and take down one of the CCP hosts, and today it's Garmami, so stick around for that.
Awesome.
You're gonna win.
All right, welcome to the newest segment of Capital Combat Parley Studio Edition. It's CCP Trivia Takedown, where the guest tries to take down a CCP host in a game of trivia. I will be hosting this, Garmami versus Terry. Let me explain to you the rules, guys. Each correct answer is worth 10 points. First one to 50 wins. I'll read the question. If you know the answer, buzz in by saying
Buzz.
Buzz.
Right?
Buzz.
First one to answer, if he gets it wrong, passes to the next one. All decisions are final by me, by the power granted by Harambe himself. That's real. Are you ready for your first question?
Yes.
Let's do it.
The category is local mixed martial arts.
Nice.
Which,
nice.
by the way, I
Good one.
consider both of you experts in this field.
He can kick my ass.
All right, the question is, name 2 local mixed martial arts fighters who have competed in the UFC.
Buzz. Is there a timer on this? No. Oh my God, my brain. Oh, jeez.
10.
I can't believe Boots Holtz from Whamma. Yes, that's one.
Judges? There are no judges.
Mark Boots Holtz.
Yes, correct.
And the kid from North Bay who went to Ronin with the elbow, Nick Denis.
That is
Yes!
correct, sir. 10
Yes!
points for Garmami. 10 grueling points for Garmami. Okay.
Sorry.
Second question. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
Pull up your socks there, Terry. The subject is Patrick Swayze. Now, who would win in a fight and why? Bodie from Point Break or Dalton from Roadhouse? Remember, you have to buzz in.
I haven't watched either one of these. So
Now's your chance, Terry.
Buzz. Dalton from Roadhouse.
And why is that?
Because he's just more badass.
That is the correct answer, Terry. 10 points for Terry. We have a tie game. I'm guessing he would rip his throat out. Not a scientist. All right. Ready for the third
Let's
question?
do it.
The subject is Nate Diaz. Nate
Okay.
Diaz. Is Nate Diaz surprised, motherfucker?
Buzz. No, he's not surprised.
He is not surprised, motherfucker. That is correct. 10 points for Garmami.
Great question. I love this quiz. I love it.
The score is 20-10 for Garmami. The next subject, Steven Seagal.
Wow. That's great. That's a great subject.
Steven Seagal. And for this one, you will be using the Sharpies and the piece of paper. There's no buzzing. You will just write down your answer, and I will choose the best answer. Here we go. Steven Seagal, inventor of the front kick and star of movies such as Hard to Kill and Under Siege, has recruited you guys to write him his new action film.
Wow.
What is the name of your new Steven Seagal film? 30 seconds on the clock, go. If you can hold up your answers to the camera, gentlemen. Garmami, read us your answer, please.
My gut is the universal chi.
Very good answer. That's going to be hard to beat. Terry, what do you got?
Much Killing by Steven Seagal.
That would be hard to beat, but he just did. He just beat you. That's 10 points for Terry. We have a tie game again, 20-20.
That's good.
Steven Seagal, legend. We love Steven Seagal. The next category is music. Are you ready? War. Huh. Yeah. What is it good for?
Buzz, absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
Absolutely nothing.
10 points for Garmami. Incredible display of buzzing there, my friend. Next
Buzz.
question. Oh, you'll be using your papers for this one. I don't even want to touch this subject. But the subject is Trump.
Wow.
All right.
Great subject. Hashtag Trump.
Maybe not.
No.
If
Maybe not.
Donald Trump had a jiu-jitsu move named after him, what would it be called?
Oh!
30 seconds on the clock.
Oh.
Looking at each other's answers is permitted.
Okay.
I encourage cheating at every vantage point.
I'll explain. Don't worry.
I don't know.
All right, that's time. Let's see your answer, Garmami.
For everyone out there, obi is belt in Japanese. So a belt is in obi. So I say his move would be grab it by the obi. Because you want to grab the obi and then pick up the athlete and smash them on the ground. Yes, grab it by the obi.
And in
No offense to anyone. Okay?
But in judo, in the combat sports,
You grab
the
by
opponent is in fact unwilling, just like a Trump move.
Yes, I suppose
Great
you're right.
answer,
You're
Garmami.
right.
Terry, what do you got?
I got grab it by the joint lock.
That's good, and I do realize you cheated. 10 points to Garmami.
Thank you.
Garmami is now 10 points away from winning this game.
Woo! Great game. Great game.
The next category is celebrities. Celebrities. You ready?
Yeah.
Which celebrity is not a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt? Poison drummer Ricky Rocket, actor Sean Patrick Flannery, guitar player from Def Leppard Phil Collin, or Married with Children star Ed O'Neill?
Buzz. Phil Collin.
You are correct, sir. That is the correct answer.
Nice.
It should be noted, Phil Collin trains Muay Thai. Yes, but not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's that's love, or what they call it in tennis. Next question. Movies. Movies, are you ready? In the movie Lethal Weapon.
Is that a Steven Seagal thing? No. Is it? No, wrong movie. Whatever.
I'm guessing this point's going to go to Terry. In the movie Lethal Weapon, what technique does Mel Gibson's character use?
Buzz.
Buzz.
Triangle choke.
That is the correct answer, Terry. Right. We have a tie game with one question left. And you know, some people say I tried to rig this game. I did not. The last question is massage therapy.
No, you're gonna get this. He's a massage therapist. He's gonna get it.
All right. What technique uses specially designed stainless steel instruments to deliver manual therapy?
Buzz. Fascial abrasion.
I'm sorry, Terry. That is incorrect.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What technique uses specially designed stainless steel instruments to deliver manual therapy?
I don't. Massage and Gatineau.
It is the Graston technique. It's actually a metal stainless steel. So in this case of a tie, I have a special rule. Piece of paper. If Lewis had a martial arts finishing move, what would it be called? For all the marbles. For all the marbles here, 30 seconds on the clock. Go. CCP trivia takedown. You know you want some. Probably write something. All right, Garmami, read us your answer, please.
Head kick KO.
I mean, that may be the, in fact, finishing move. It's not the greatest name.
Well,
Go ahead, Terry.
The Big Awesome.
God damn it, Terry wins this game. Congratulations, being the first winner of CCP Trivia Takedown. And by the way, we have a prize for you. You're not leaving empty-handed. This is a one of only two made Capital Combat Parley t-shirt. It's pretty amazing. It's a large, so it'll fit your massive frame.
Awesome.
I mean, that thing, like I said,
Thanks, guys.
that's a rare bird. That's worth at least $11.75. Thanks for coming,
Thanks,
Terry.
guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
welcome to CCP's Pundit Punch-Out. This is where we discuss issues in combat sports from a critical perspective, consider it a discussion, possibly even a debate. The subject at hand today is the role of self-promotion in mixed martial arts and all combat sports, be it amateur or pro. What I'm speaking about in particular is there's a higher demand for highly skilled competitors, be it in amateur combat sports, I'm speaking judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, or professional combat sports such as mixed martial arts. With this high demand for highly skilled fighters, there's a higher demand for entertainment value. As you know, fighters are interviewed before a fight, after a fight. Fighters are sponsored. Fighters are in front of the camera, not just fighting, but also talking to journalists. And there's an important role for fighters to consider in promoting themselves. Now, the first question I want to ask is, how much promotion should a fighter do? Like, how many interviews should they do? Is there such thing as too much?
Well, I mean, I think everyone knows by now you're the brains of CCP, so I'm not really sure. Look, I think it differs from every subject, right? Fighters are going to have different personalities. They're going to rub people the different ways, good ways, bad ways, everything in between. And it depends your skill level of fighting too. You know,
Sure.
if you're all promotion and no fighter.
That's the dilemma, right?
But because at the end of the day, it's all about money, right?
It completely is, especially for pro combat sports.
Of course it is.
Like mixed martial arts in particular, where athletes have to be cognizant of the fact that, not only are you an athlete, but you have to draw an audience to the event. You have to draw an audience. I mean, we're all familiar, of course, with the biggest draw in combat sports today. Of course, in mixed martial arts, Conor McGregor. Yeah. Is he a skilled fighter? Of course he is. But he's even more skilled in the ability of selling himself. So, I mean...
Equally as skilled, I would say.
Oh, it's on par.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, he's done things physically that no one else has done before, so...
He sure has, he sure has. But I just think he's really been a huge influencer in the art of self-promotion in mixed martial arts.
He sure has, because we're seeing a lot of people ask for the money fights now.
Yes, yes,
And you know,
yes.
and of course the promoter's saying, well, you know, you're not Conor McGregor.
That's
but
it.
a lot of people are trying to become Conor McGregor.
They are. And it's interesting now because the question becomes, well, let's say you're a world-class, high-level fighter in whatever respective combat sport. Let's say you have social anxiety and you can't get in front of the camera. How does that impact your career as a combat sports athlete? Because the reality is, I think that's very real. I can see it sometimes when I'm at events. I can, you know, getting in front of the camera and talking about yourself and your career is very challenging. Sometimes it can be even more challenging than going into a grappling competition or an MMA fight.
Well,
So
I mean,
it's just,
we're seeing it now where all the fighters are very gracious with their time because they are cognizant of the fact
yes.
that this does get them press, which will get them more sponsors and this and that. But I'll tell you when it's too much. Like fighters will even interview after a loss and they're very generous with their time. But when it's too much is, you know, when you're knocked around a bit,
Sure.
your brain's not quite right,
Sure.
then's not the time to be talking to the cameras and stuff like that. Then it's too much and then it's, you
There's
really,
been talk about
you really
that.
got to put yourself first in that perspective. I think, in my opinion,
Sure.
as someone who's had a few knocks to the head, then it's too much. As far as oversaturation, that doesn't seem to be happening these days, does it? Particularly with everything being short format,
Sure.
quick snippets, short attention spans. There doesn't seem to be an overhyping of fighters.
Oh, you don't feel that there's a, no?
I don't.
No.
People are doing it smart.
It's
right?
funny because for me, I'll give you one quick example. It's hard for me to watch, for example, mixed martial arts when we're not told about the fighters and their background story in terms of like the beef between John Jones.
DC.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's a draw, and that sort of emotional hook in terms of, you know, the story behind the story as to why these two hate each other. For me, sometimes I find that's what draws an audience.
Absolutely.
Right? And we're seeing more and more of this need for entertainment and self-promotion, which is great because after all, it's a professional sport. It's a business, and that's a tactic to draw in. I guess eventually it might be a little too much, I feel.
Well, I mean, even today they released a video of DC and Jones getting into it backstage, right, at a press conference.
Right.
And, you know, they're releasing it because it sells and
Yeah.
because it builds hype. That's the reality.
It does.
But is that too much? Bottle throwings, is that too much?
It's all entertainment. It's the TMZ sort of effect, and
Yeah.
it kind of blurs the line sometimes between this great sport of mixed martial arts and the theatrics of sports entertainment and
Pro wrestling? You're talking pro wrestling?
Yeah, I mean,
Is someone going to hit me with a chair right now?
Maybe. No. Derek Price might just hit you with a chair, brother.
Yikes.
Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you leave some comments. Tell us what you think about the subject matter here. You're listening and watching to CCP Pundit Punch Out. Are you going to punch me out?
Never. I don't have the guts, my friend.
I'm not a striker.
Hey man, thanks for watching our studio show. That was amazing. Catch us at some events. Come say hi when you see us. Like our Facebook page. Share our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter. Come roll with us Saturday mornings at Arcana.
Yes, sir. And big shout outs to the Special Forces of Video Production. That's Obscura Creative. Check them out on Facebook.
And one more thing, you know, combat sports is serious business, but we're not that serious. Check it out.
Most Def. You know what this song's called?
I do not know what this
Miss
song.
Fat Booty.
Whoa,
In she came.
Miss Fat Booty?
Yes, sir.
What? Well, that just sounds like a swell time.
It sure does. It sure does, Lewis Hill. We got CBC Ottawa here at Heroes Combat League. I believe I saw Global TV as well.
Whoa.
But guess what, mofos? Capital Combat Parley's here. And y'all can't cover combat sports like we can. Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang Clan.
Ain't nothing. What? Grandma, we have a question. Is Wu-Tang Clan something to with?
I believe I wouldn't F with them, no. I would advise anyone watching this not to F with the Wu-Tang. Baby.
She's being frisked like she's at a Florida airport. I'm just another soul for sale.
Lewis Hill on the mic.
Derek Price. Very excited to see Hazard in action.
Oh.
Russian hackers, am I right?
And make sure you also like Capital Combat Parley on Facebook and Twitter. And big shout out to Obscura Creative.